Alright, so we've gone through this in class. We'll go through it again, but just to cover it one more time, composite images are combining two different photos together and trying to make them look realistic, right? So we're going to learn how to use our selection tools to select out parts of the images that we want to place together, and we're going to learn how to work with color, lighting, and shadows and try to make them look a little bit more realistic. So, just to start, the first thing we need to do is gather images. So I'm just going to make a copyright one right now. You will be doing one with copyrighted images you gather online and one with your own images, okay? So we know that, we're working on that right now, but just to reiterate, one of them has to be completely original photos, okay? So let's go ahead and go find two pictures we want to combine. I'm thinking I'm gonna do something underwater. Let's see if we can find a cool picture of a shark. I'm thinking I want one that's pretty brightly lit. These ones that are very dark here, I feel like it would, like, where would I put something else? I guess I could put something riding that on top of the shark. We could try that. Okay, I have another idea. We might revisit the sharks, but let's see if we can find a snow globe. I want to put something in a snow globe. Okay. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Keep it simple. So with Pexels, you're going to want to hit free download, and it should just automatically download it to your computer. Right there. So we'll close that up, and then we gotta find one more that we're gonna combine into it. So let's put some kind of sea creature in the snow globe. We're fitting the underwater theme. How about... So we're looking for seals. So right away, thinking about this, if I get this picture, I'm kind of cutting him off at the neck. It might not work with the first photo I chose. So we're gonna look for one that's like full body. This one, perfect. Super easy to do. So we'll download that one as well. We got our two files. And what I'm going to do before I do anything else, I'll show you guys on the presentation right here. This is when we start our file packaging. So we're making one folder and we're going to name it last name, composite image, and then there's going to be two folders inside, one for your non-copyright composite and one for your copyright. So I already made this right here. My last name is a little long. Schallenberger composite image. I'm gonna open it up. You'll have two folders. So we are doing our copyright one, and I had some test things in here, but we'll go ahead and just clear all those out, right? So let's go to the two images we just downloaded. And we will copy them. And then we'll go right back and pop them in there. So they're in the right spot, right? But they are not named the correct thing. So these are our copyright ones. They should be named Copyright Resource 1, Copyright Resource 2. So we'll go back over real quick and we're just gonna rename them. And if you have more than two, just use that same format and keep naming them. So it would be copyright underscore resource 3, 4, and so on. So I have those two done, right? Now I can go ahead and work on starting my document. So let's pop over to this page. It says we need an 11 by 17 document, RGB color mode, and 300 points per inch. So we'll go over to Photoshop, open up a new file, and we're going to do 11 by 17, 300 resolution, pixels per inch, points per inch, and then RGB. So I already have mine set that way. You may have to make some adjustments, and we'll hit create. And what I'm going to do now is get my images in here. So we will go to place embedded, and we will grab both of them. I think you might have to do them one at a time. Hit enter, got that one placed, and then we'll go ahead and grab that other one. We got that one placed. So if you look at our main image that we're using is it is a horizontal layout, right? And we have a vertical one. You guys can do 17 by 11 if you want to. You just need to have the same aspect ratio, right? So it can be horizontal or vertical. It just needs to be an 11 by 17 in some way. So maybe I want to change this canvas size. How do we do that? Image, canvas size. Let's just flip them. So we'll do 17 by 11. Hit okay? All right, so now from here, we're gonna grab our first source, do Control T to transform, and we're just gonna blow it up a bit. Now remember, if you put a really small file in here that's low res and you try to make it bigger, it's gonna go blurry, right? This is a pretty hot HD picture if you can't tell, so I still have a lot of crisp details. But you gotta download your photos from Pexels or some other site like that. So if you're not using Pexels, you need to come check with me so I can make sure it's good. But we'll pop this up top. And then I think what I wanna do is cut this seal out. And we'll go ahead and use the exact same method that we learned in the jellyfish video. I'm gonna make him a bit smaller so I can see the whole thing. And then I am going to create a layer mask, so right here. And we're going to get our paintbrush. So I hit B to bring up the brush. I can hit the left or right bracket to make it bigger or smaller. And then I'm just going to mask it out. So I need to change some of my settings real quick. Let's go ahead and go with a softer brush. And a little bit of a lower opacity. So we'll go in here, start at the edges. Honestly, I think my opacity could go up a bit. And I want you guys to be cleaner with this project than you may have been learning how to do the composites with the jellyfish demo, right? So I could leave all of this in here, but that might not end up looking as clean, and we want these to look as realistic as we can get them. So be clean. And we can go ahead and change the blending mode on this as well. So let's lower the opacity first. We'll zoom in, and we're just going back in, cleaning this up. So I want some of that glow in there so it doesn't have really hard edges, but I want to get it mostly gone. And remember, there's multiple different ways you can select something. So you don't have to use layer masks at all if you don't want to. You could cut everything out with the lasso tools and just, you know, blur the edges, soften them up. But since this is the way you practice in your demo, that's the way we're gonna do it. So we got our seal. We still have quite a bit of stuff we need to get rid of. Oops. So we'll go back in. And another thing we can do is you can hide layers at any point if you need to be able to see better. See how much easier I can see all that extra space that I left when I make it bigger. And this will be a lot easier for those of you who have the touch screens. It is not my favorite thing to do with the mouse. Okay. Got it working. How do we make it look like it is the same color and the same basic, you know, aesthetic of this random glass sphere? I'm probably going to set it to screen the same way the video did. I think I actually like lighten more. But I don't like that blue. Let's go through them all and just check them out. Okay. So we're going through them, we're looking at them. I think I'm going to stick with screen for now. And next, we're just going to line this up wherever we want it. So I think I'm actually happy with it right there. All right, so from here, we have to kind of problem solve and use our creative thinking skills to think of how we can make this look more realistic. So the first thing that stands out to me is all these little dots are kind of getting in the way of seeing the seal, right? I'm having trouble with this reflection, being able to tell that this is a seal from far away. So maybe we gotta go get rid of those. So if I turn this off and I go to this and I'm trying to get rid of little objects, what is one way we learned how to do that in class? If you don't remember, there's like 5 different ways we can do it, right? So we could go in with our selection tool and we could select these individually and fill them with the content aware. We're gonna have to rasterize this layer first. See how it's a smart layer like that? It means it's not gonna let us edit it. So we'll rasterize it. And maybe I can go to content aware fill. Hit OK, and it'll get rid of it for me. But that took quite a while, right? That was like 4 clicks for that one dot to disappear. So if we go to our spot healing brush, you should be able to do it in 1 click. And you'll also notice with the automatic content aware, it makes these extra layers that will very quickly get busy. So spot healing brush is by far the fastest way to remove things. We don't want to remove too many, just enough to be able to see what we're doing. And I think I want this window to be gone as well. So maybe we will select it. All right, let's turn our seal back on. And then we're staying on the globe layer. And we'll just make sure we get rid of a couple more that are getting in the way. So already I can see the seal a lot easier. I do notice he seems a little faded. So maybe we go on to the seal layer, and that's when we add our first adjustment layer down here. And maybe we just want to bring that contrast up a little bit so he's a bit easier to see. So I'm happy with that. So looking at this now, the next thing that stands out to me is maybe being a little bit breaking the realism is this weird blue shadow, or I guess highlight, and that is from parts of the selection that we didn't clean up. So if I go back into this layer and I go back onto that layer mask, I'm just going to come in here now that I know I didn't do a good enough job cleaning it up, and we're gonna go right back through. And one way that I find is really easy when you're using the paintbrush is to hold shift. So if I click here and I hold shift and click here, it'll make a line from the 2 places. So you can kind of use it almost like your polygon lasso tool and just click as you go and erase some of that stuff that's just not supposed to be there. And this is one of the more tedious tasks, and we have to be careful because we're going to lose some of these details. So I'm going to undo this real quick. I don't have time, unless this demo would be a while, to show you my individual clicks. But maybe we can figure out a way to make those less blue without having to necessarily get rid of them. So if we go back to here, we're going to once again do an adjustment layer. Actually, let's do this with a keyboard shortcut. Have that layer selected and do Control or Command and U, and that'll bring up your hue and saturation. So what this will do is make a modification of your colors, your saturation, or your lightness, but it won't make it an adjustment layer. So it is a permanent change that you can't undo. So just keep that in mind. But I can maybe tweak those colors so that it is a little bit more what we're looking for. I like that red, and I liked, yeah, I'm happy with that. So that looks a lot more cohesive. It fits the color scheme. I think I may actually, I'm not gonna change it again, but I would probably go orange instead of red just because this is almost all orange. There's nothing else going on. Okay, so what else can we do from here? I really want this eye to stand out so that it's readable. So maybe we can play with our sharpen tool, which is right here. And again, we're gonna have to rasterize this layer to be able to make edits like this on it. And at any point you can make a image back into a smart object if you want to. It just preserves the resolution so that you can't mess with it. So we're using that sharpening tool and just kind of bringing out some of those details where we want them. So maybe I want to sharpen this up as well. Raise the contrast. You got to be careful not to get carried away with the sharpen tool because it's really easy. Make sure you're zooming out often and seeing what it looks like. Alright, I like that. Let's do another thing that is straight from the jellyfish and add a liquefy effect to it. So if I go to filter and liquefy, it's going to open up both layers over top of each other. I actually don't think I want to see the backdrop. I just want to see this for now because I know what it's in. Oops. Whoa. Let's get a little less personal with the seal. Okay. We use the bloat tool and we are just gonna warp him a bit. Okay. Alright. I don't know if I like how that looks, but let's try that again. Maybe I will keep my layers on so I don't make him look that derpy again. Okay. We just want it to be warped alongside the globe. That's a bit better. It still looks funky, but don't sea lions look a little funky in general? Probably. Alright, so from here, I think I would be satisfied with this being done. There's definitely more you could do. I noticed that the highlight in his eye is kind of similar to these repeating elements in the globe. So maybe I could go grab one of them and zoom in a bit. I'm just gonna do a quick little selection of it. And then I could just copy it and paste it. Bring that layer up above. Maybe just play around with it being a highlight. I think that adds an interesting effect. Maybe too bright. Maybe I want one of those orange ones instead. And then from here, maybe you add more things, you know, maybe you add some water that fills up the globe like that. Maybe you change the colors in general, make this whole thing blue instead, or maybe we could just make the globe blue. Have some nice interacting colors. You could try that real quick. The main thing with this project is you're going to spend a lot of time just kind of experimenting with Photoshop and its effects and seeing what works, what doesn't. So I don't want to make this tutorial too long, but I don't want to leave out parts of my creative process either. But I want you to take these as far as you can get them to go. So that's not a very clean selection if you can't tell, but that's one way you could just make some visual interest. Right now we've got contrast going on, we've got these two complementary colors, and other than the fact that this selection is very bad from a distance, this looks semi-realistic. Is it realistic to have a seal and a globe? No, but do the colors make it look like it's not just, okay. one more thing to go over. Here is my folder. We're gonna go over what this looks like one more time for file packaging. So I've got Schallenberger composite image. It is last name, composite image. That is your one folder you will be turning in. Everything else is inside of it. You've got a copyright and a non-copyright. Inside of it, you should have your 2 resource images, your Photoshop file of your composite, and a JPEG that you export from this document. So you should have 4 files in each, and they should all follow the same naming format. And all of that is laid out in your presentation. I do need you guys to please name your files correctly because it makes it difficult to grade when I am searching for stuff. And as designers, you need to learn how to be able to do this on your own. File packaging is a very important part that sets people aside from it being a hobby and it being a profession, whether or not you can deliver the products you're making appropriately. So take it seriously, read the instructions, it shouldn't be too tricky. And then in OneDrive, you are going to be submitting it. So I'm going to hit upload. You can do files or folder. From what I've noticed, it works for either. And you're going to upload that entire folder. Okay, maybe you do have to hit folder. Yep. And you can see up here, it's doing its thing. I'll wait for it to finish. And when you open it, you should have, and make sure, because every once in a while, OneDrive misses a beat and it'll delete folders inside of things and it won't transfer it all over. So this has everything. I deleted some stuff in here, so yours will not look like this. Yours will look like this, okay? Both your copyright and non-copyright should have 4 things in it. So I have my entire folder up. Now I just have to hit share and I need to send it to myself. Okay, hit send. I will get a notification. It will be very easy for me to grade. And this will become more routine for you guys. I know it's a lot to look at right now, but I'm going to have all these projects be the same exact structure. You make a folder, you put it in your OneDrive, you share it to me, and that way this stuff will all just be backed up for you. So when you're sitting there in your senior year and you're trying to find old projects to revise or put in your portfolio, it will be super easy for you to find them, okay? So if you have any questions after watching the demos, please let me know. You will run into problems with this project. It's just the nature of it. But a big part of Photoshop is learning how to problem solve. So we will figure it out together.